Welcome to the Academy of Self-Mastery, where transformation meets action. I am Eugene Holden. I'm one of your guides on this journey of personal growth, mindset shifts, and deep self-awareness. Each episode, we dive into the tools, wisdoms, and strategies you need to break through limitations and step into your highest potential. There is no fluff here. There are no shortcuts, just real conversations, practical insights, and a community dedicated to mastery in every area of life. So, if you're ready to unlock your power, elevate your mindset, and create a life by design, then let's get started. Welcome to the Academy of Self-Mastery podcast. Welcome to the deep end. Let's dive in. Good day, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good wherever you are. It is all good, no matter what time of day it is, because you know what? It's always now, and now is a good time. Welcome to the Academy of Self-Mastery podcast. I'm your host, Eugene Holden, and I have with me today one of my three hosts. My guest, my co-host today is the Reverend Sharon Barone, who I'm going to be speaking with. But hello, Sharon. How are you today?
I am magnificent.
Yeah. Yes, the magnificent, fantastic you are. So let me just tell everybody just a little bit about what the Academy of Self-Mastery is. It is, and people ask me, so Eugene, why isn't the S in self capitalized? Well, it's because our higher self, that bigger S self, doesn't need mastering. It's that egoic self. It's that little S self that needs the mastering, and the mastering over those thoughts that keep us limited, those thoughts that are disempowering. So the Academy of Self-Mastery, the podcast, is about diving into those and really looking at what are the ways that have kept us blocked, those false beliefs, and then also looking at tools and using tools in ways that we can open up to be who we came here to be, which incidentally is what we're going to be talking about today. But before I go there, let me tell you a little bit about my dear friend Reverend Sharon. Reverend Sharon R. Barone is a visionary minister, speaker, and media professional dedicated to inspiring others through faith, storytelling, and the power of belief. From her early calling in a small Baptist church in South Dakota to her groundbreaking work in Hollywood with legendary producers Norman Lear, Ted Turner, and Don Steele, she has championed the transformative power of words in both entertainment and ministry. Reverend Sharon was ordained in 1985. She has led multiple churches, spoken on global stages, and founded, check this out, I love this, you should check out her website, is great. It's called Recalling Spirit Ministries. Recalling Spirit Ministries is a spiritual community dedicated to uplifting and empowering people from all walks of life. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I do want to say, with the deep passion for faith-based storytelling, Sharon, my beloved friend, blends ministry and media to bring the teachings of Spirit through new and impactful platforms, guided by Proverbs 23:1. For as he thinketh in his heart, so is he. In this case, as she thinketh in her heart, so is she. She teaches that what we focus on, we energize in mind, body, and spirit. But most of all, I want you guys to know is that she is a beloved friend of mine. She's a beloved friend of mine. And she's one of the three people that were on the top of my list in choosing a co-host for this podcast. So again, welcome everybody, and welcome Sharon, my beautiful, beautiful friend.
Thank you, Eugene.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So I know that we talked a little bit about what we're going to be talking about, getting clear on why we're here. But I also want to ask you, Sharon, what is on your heart today?
Well, it's so amazing and wonderful to me just to watch how the universe works. If you remember, about, I would say, a little over a year ago, there were these certain challenges that I had in my life, and I needed to find. I know lots of practitioners, but I needed to find someone that did not know me. And I had been reading you in the guides for years and years. And I said, oh, I know who to find. I'm going to get that Eugene Holden. I like that guy. I like reading him. And so I called a couple of places and I went online, and lo and behold, somebody gave me your email or your phone number. I can't remember which. And I remember when I made that phone call, how troubled I was at that point, but how soothing you were. You were this calm, collected, kind of quirky, funny guy that would, sing like a little tune in the middle of it. And I said, "Oh, this is it. This is my person." And here it is, a year and a half later. And it brings me great joy to join you as a co-host on this podcast. And, when I look at the world today and I see all of these things, and all of us know what it is, right. I was reminded of why I called you to begin with. Because one of the reasons why is that what I recognized was this. There was a person in my life that was just nothing but dang annoying. I mean, this person was dang annoying. And everything that this person did was wrong, and I was righteously right. And I was going to be in my rightness no matter what. And after we did some work together, what I realized, and I think it's really appropriate for the world that we are living in, we cannot accuse somebody else of being wrong or being controlling or whatever it is without us recognizing that it's something within us. That person that I was making wrong, how did I know that that person was wrong? Because there was a place in me that made that person wrong.
Yeah.
We can't accuse somebody of something unless there's a recognition within ourselves.
Right. Right.
So I'm not accusing anybody any longer. I'm just bringing the joy, love, and happiness that I know, because is what pure spirit is about.
Yeah. I love that word, recognition. Well, first of all, thank you for all of that that you said, about me and all that. And it's interesting, and I'll get to the word recognition, but as you were speaking, it reminded me, because that was the end of 23 or the beginning of 24 that you and I met, right? And yes. Somewhere along the line, you said, Eugene, I have this feeling that we're going to be doing some work together. Mm-hmm. And here we are, right? Mm-hmm. And so going back to that recognition, when I judge someone for being whatever, and I recognize it, so I have to look at me, I have to look at myself, right? So which is a great practice, right? When something comes up and I'm triggered by whatever someone does or says, then I and I had to learn how to do this and then have the willingness to do it, right? Okay, what is it within me that is triggered, right? And as you said, that which is annoying, and I can recognize it. I love the word recognize it, because the word recognize means to know again. So there's something within me that knows that type of behavior, that type of personality, that type of frequency, right? And I'm going, oh, I don't like that. Well, that's because it could be, not all the time, but it could be that is within me. And maybe it's pushing my button to make me recognize, oh, this is what I am here to heal. In the Toltec teachings, They refer to those people who push buttons and do all of that as oh, come on, darn. All of a sudden it went away. Anyway,
Yeah.
but we are to be grateful for them. Petty tyrants, petty tyrants, right? Because they're
Yes.
and we're to be grateful for them because they have allowed stuff that's within us to come up to be healed.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
It's so really, really true. I've examined this now for quite a while in my own life, but also when people come and they say, Reverend Charm this, or, and what I know in that moment is that there is something that is moving within us when we feel that aggravation that you're talking about. There's something that is moving within all of us, and it is really coming up to be healed. And if we cannot choke on it, by resisting it or moving away from it, if we can just allow that to come up to be healed. And I have examined, growing up in that Baptist church in South Dakota, there was a lot of, we knew about sin, there was a lot about sin and, hellfire and damnation and all of that. It is not my belief today, but this is what is my belief in that. And it comes from Numbers. And really what sin is, it's an archery term.
Yes.
And it just simply means miss the mark. And in Numbers, it says, be sure your sins will find you out.
Mm.
It's demonstrated, in our world. We can look at our lives and say, whoa, that was error thinking right there. I missed the mark on that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think what that does, no, not I think, I believe, what that does is when we can take that archery term and just say, I missed the mark, that takes off the judgment.
Right.
Now, how can I make the mark?
Right.
How can I do, what is it within me that could do something different to make a better decision, whether it's about relationships or finances or whatever it is? We don't have to miss the mark again, because there's that power for good in us, and it can inform us so that we don't miss the mark. We just have to be willing.
Right. Right. Yeah. I also look at that word sin, number one, missing the mark, but also, making a mistake, right? And I love it, mistake, and you being in the entertainment field. Okay, take one, take two. Oh, I missed the mark again and again. Okay, wow. So, and I love kids because kids will teach us that it's okay, right? So they make a mistake, they miss the ball or whatever it is. They're going, I wasn't ready. Here's another one, right? That kids say, do over. So, right? Do over. I wasn't ready. So if I make a mistake, and here's, I think, another aspect to this, and I love what you said about being willing. Okay, I missed the mark. I said something wrong. I did something wrong from a place of fear, or I didn't know better, or whatever the case might be. But I am now clear that this is what I've done. Now let me be willing to look at that and what the thought process was behind that, and let me forgive myself. Let me. I was writing a blog a few weeks ago. And, it was about, forgiving ourselves, taking ourselves off the hook. And I stopped and thought about the visual of that. Right. Because, right. So, butchers and so they hang meat up on the hook. Isn't that? And that's like, oh, God, I don't want to. That's painful to be on the hook, or a fish on the hook. But I like the bigger thing that's on the hook, because that for me is very, very visceral. I'm like, oh man, I don't want to put myself or keep myself on the hook for stuff I've done in the past. And this, goes to what we were going to speak about anyway, is getting clear on why we're here.
Mhm.
getting clear on why we're here. So all of this plays a part in that. And for me, what has happened in the past is all of those mistakes and all of the crazy decisions that I made that turned out to be, it was good idea at the time, right? But all of
Yeah.
that, because after bumping my head over and over and falling down and skinning my knee and all of that stuff, even sometimes breaking an arm, not physically, but
Mhm.
metaphorically, has all been used to wake me up to ask, okay, so why am I here?
I think one of the, not I think, I believe that one of the ways that we can identify why we are here is simply by what you just said. What happens to us in life, whether you break an arm literally or figuratively speaking, that experience right there, if we're willing again, reveals. It reveals, and it says you get to handle this in a different way. I remember years ago, as you know, I worked for Norman Lear, and we were at Universal, and we were getting ready to go walk down to the soundstage where they were going to be, I forget which show it was. Let's say it was Married with Children. I don't remember. But anyway, we were walking down there to the soundstage, and Norman, he always very, very present, with people, very, very present, very there. And as we were walking, there were flowers, and I was so focused on getting him down to the soundstage and to get with the actors and all of that. And he looked up and he said, "Wow, look at that beautiful bush over there." And I was so not present because mine was about the ego, to get him down there, and when he touched my arm and he said, Sharon, just breathe here. Let's just enjoy that beautiful bush over there with the flowers. When we get down to the soundstage, it'll all be perfect. Let's remember why he didn't say why we are here. He said, what are we doing in this moment? Let's just enjoy the bougainvillea. Let's just enjoy the bush.
Yeah.
And that was so revealing to me about why we are here. For me in that moment.
Yeah.
Why am I here? First and foremost, to be present in every moment, no matter what, because that is spirit revealing itself in an unequivocal way that says, what can you learn from this? What can you get? Because this is all part of who you are. And that's why you're here.
Yeah. Yeah. And, being a direct aspect of the creator, right? Our nature is to create. We can't help but to create. We have choices, right? And then you will hear folks say, well, we always have a choice. We always have a choice. And this is what I found out just recently over the last year or so, that there's one thing that we don't have a choice in. We don't have a choice on whether to create or not. We are always creating. Now, most of my life has been unconsciously, right? Well, I shouldn't say most of my life. Half of my life has been unconsciously creating all the stress and all that stuff, right? But we cannot help but to create. So why am I here? To create. Now we get to ask, okay, now what am I willing to create? And what needs to be let go of so that I can create this life that wants to be birthed or come up through me? I love that.
That's key. That what you just asked right there is, what do I need to do to let go of so that I can create this magnificent life that the laws of the universe allow us to do?
Yeah.
Because what we put out, it always comes back. It's just the way that the law works.
Yeah.
And
go ahead.
Go ahead. Well, what I want to add to that was that whole idea about choice, if we look at, the master Jesus and what he taught and all of that, to me, Jesus taught two things. Jesus taught love, and he taught forgiveness. And for me, in every moment, we have an opportunity to choose love or to choose forgiveness.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think, Eugene, in this world that we are currently experiencing, we need to choose more love.
Yeah. Yeah.
In everything, with our neighbors, buying a car, whatever, we need to choose more love. And where does that love begin? It begins right here, right where we are.
Yeah. Yeah.
And isn't love the reason why we're here?
Yeah. 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 Yeah, it is. It is, and it's interesting, right? And as cliche as that may sound, but it's still something that is very potent, love. Because if it weren't for love, we wouldn't be here, right? If it weren't for love, for me, love is what. No, let me put it this way. I was doing a meditation years ago, and asked myself the question, what breathes this breath? It took me a few days being in that question. I didn't meditate throughout, day and night, but I would come to my practice every day and ask that question. And it took a few days for the answer to come for me. And so what breathes this breath? And the answer that came up, Charn, was love. Love breathes this breath. Okay, why? And the answer that came, it didn't take long for this one to come. Love breathes this breath so that love can experience life through me as this body temple, this personality named Eugene. And then it just kept expanding. Love causes the sun to shine so that the earth, because the sun gives the earth life, so that the earth can experience love through us, right? So love is truly all there is. And that's what this world, I believe, and I think you do too, is what we are looking for. And I think I know that's why we are here doing this and doing the other work that we're doing, is to wake people up to who we are as love, right? And as cliche as it may sound, but when you think about it, one of my favorite songs from 1968 was by Jackie DeShannon. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. Lord, we don't need another mountain. We don't need any. So now, again, as cliche as this may sound, it's really what will heal the planet with all the bull that's going on. Right. And all the bullshit that is going on. And we get to look at that. That's it, right. And what I also like about that word bullshit, we can look at bullshit as manure for the new growth.
As a rancher's daughter, you got it.
Right. Yeah, there's stuff going on. There is no hiding our heads in the sand. There's stuff going on. Okay, who am I to be in this moment? Am I going to be distracted from who I am? And get pulled into complaining and trying to choose sides when there is no side, because we're all in this together? Or am I going to be willing enough to heal whatever needs to be healed, so that I may be the presence of love everywhere I go with everything that I do? And it doesn't mean that I'm going to be singing, tiptoe through the tulips all of the time, or kumbaya. Sometimes love will show up like, hey, that's not cool. You shouldn't be saying that.
Yeah, that's pretty stinky,
Yeah.
When you first shared the idea with me about the podcast and the Academy of Self-Mastery, what I really, really liked about it, and it related to years ago of being in the pulpit, and there was I always put an insert into the bulletin, and it was the 3 steps. And so let's say the topic was forgiveness. So there were 3 steps that you could carry around to actively practice throughout the week of these tools of, how to do forgiveness when you're living your life. And what attracted me to the academy is that there are tools here
Yes.
that we can use, universal principles and tools that are applicable, that we can create the world that we want when we consciously use and make a choice to use these tools. Because there's always going to be that BS that's out there.
Yeah.
There's always going to be something.
Right. Right.
Right now it is really something to a lot of people.
Right.
It's really something. But depending upon my reaction, Eugene, your reaction, and everybody's reaction to it, that is what we're going to create next.
Right. Right.
And I'm telling everybody right here and right now, and I've said it to you before, Eugene, I am not willing to create any more BS in my life,
right.
And nor am I willing to suffer in any way, shape, or form. Why? Because simply I don't have to.
Right. 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 That speaks to the one of the beautiful gifts that we have as divine human beings. We have the gift of intuition, the gift of imagination, but the one I really love is the gift of choice. Right? Yes, I can choose not to suffer. What the heck? Because it goes back to the verse that I read in your bio. Your bio. In Proverbs, right? As I'm gonna use the word person. As a person thinketh, I love this, thinketh in their heart. Right? As we think and we have that feeling tone behind that thought, so that's what we get to create. That's just the way it is. So if I get,
you look at the
go ahead,
magnificentness of how the universe works, yes, that's scripturally sound. As a man thinketh in his heart, so shall it be. But really what that is sending out to the universal law that says, as I think, I become.
Yeah.
And what are we thinking?
Yeah.
What are we breathing in?
Right.
That becomes our truth. And that's where that deep examination of our beliefs come from.
Yeah. Yeah. And we it's, how can I put this? It's important for us to examine our beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
For me, after I started to wake up to myself, started to examine what I was taught to believe. I was like, well, wait a minute, that's not necessarily true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm like, wait a minute. And then, wait, who am I? As kids or teenagers, we've either read the book or have seen the movie Alice in Wonderland. And the Cheshire Cat. Great question. Who are you? Great question, right, to ask. And so I'm going to invite folks. There are 2 questions, right? And I'm going to invite people to take within themselves that question, who am I? Who am I? The second question, Sharon, why am I?
Yep.
Okay, who am I? Great. Why am I here? Is it just to live, get up in the morning, take a shower, eat breakfast, get in the car, go to work, come back home, eat dinner, go to bed, just to start that again? Or are we here to touch lives, to do that and to touch lives while doing that? And to touch a life is not hard. Just smile.
Yeah.
I love the energy of a smile.
I have a question for you.
Uh-oh.
As a spiritual coach, a life coach, and all of your background in this teaching and creating your life the way that you want, that first question that you asked, who am I, what would be the tools that you would put behind that
Oh,
to
great
guide
question.
someone to say, how do I examine who am I?
Great question. Great question. And so what I would say, and I've done this with clients and others, is, it's just not a matter of asking the question. What you want to do is to get a pad of paper and something to write with, and get still. Take a few breaths, and
Mhm.
really, get into a nice quiet space, not just physically, but within as well, and that may take a few breaths if you're not a meditator yet. Then
Mhm.
just take a few breaths, and then ask the question, who am I? And then write
Mhm.
down, well, I am, right? And it doesn't matter what comes up, right?
Mhm.
Just go ahead and
Mhm.
write. And write, well,
Mhm.
who am I? I am Eugene Holden. Great. Who am I? I am a teacher. Great. Who am I? I am a percussionist. Who am I? Now, here's the thing about those three questions, or those three answers.
Mhm.
Those are answers of what I do. Doesn't necessarily point to who I am.
Mhm.
Who am I? Oh, I am the channel of creation. Who am I? So that would be the tool, is to get still, have something to write on and to write with, get still, ask the question, then be willing to listen. To be
It's key.
willing to listen.
Be willing to listen
Yeah, be
and
willing to
not
listen.
resist whatever
Yeah.
comes out.
Yeah, and write down whatever comes up. Write
Mhm.
that down. Because now you see it, now we get to see it in front of us, and go, okay, so what does that really mean? And how does that
Mhm.
show up? So it's
Mhm.
really about introspection, right? Let me look at me. I love the word blame, right? Well,
You love the word what? What was that?
to blame, folks
Oh,
blame,
blame.
right? Blame, right? And this
Okay.
is why, right? Because when we blame people, we blame others for the way that we feel, and we point fingers. And I'm sure that people have heard this before. When we're pointing one finger at someone or something, we have three fingers pointing back, right? Well,
Mhm.
blame, the word blame, stands for because looking at me ain't easy.
I never heard that before. Thank you, Academy of Self Mastery. I learned something. Wow.
Now I gotta say that I didn't make that one up. I got that from a brother named Professor Griff, who used to be with a hip hop group years ago. Um, but so I was listening to him on a podcast, and he actually got that from his wife. But I love that, because
Mhm.
looking at me ain't easy. Because I don't, because for me it took a number of experiences before I'm saying, okay, Eugene, you need to look at you. And for me it was, why are you, Eugene, not willing to be loved? Because it had to do with a relationship, and this woman loved me so much that it scared me,
Mhm.
and I sabotaged the relationship not once, Jeremy, but twice, right?
Mhm.
And then the second time, I'm like, okay, dude, what the hell is going on with you, right? And I was like,
Mhm.
really, okay, why are you not willing to be loved? Whew.
Yeah.
Going back
Yeah.
to getting clear on why I'm here. And so coming back to that word again, love.
So,
Maybe, Sharon,
mhm.
maybe it's simple as this, right? Getting
Mhm.
clear on why we're here. And I believe we've already said it, that we're here to love.
Yeah.
you know. Jackie DeShannon and then Dionne Warwick did the same song a year later. There are so many love songs around that
Mhm.
have been made for years, and the one that everybody knows. And every time I do it live with someone, well, I don't do the song, but when I bring it up, I can always depend on people responding. Right, all we
Mhm.
need is love. So what da da da, and everybody does that, right? What da
Mhm.
da da. But that's what it is about. All we need is love. Yeah, we got a
And if
lot of
we look at that in such not that love is simple,
right, because
but
it's
it is
not.
It is profound.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when we can take all of those belief systems that says that you're not enough, you can't have, you have to, whatever it is, and we allow that love, pure love, to be energized within us. I think of the solar plexus when that happens, and just allow that to come forth. And then we're at the grocery store, and there's a person ahead of us that can't, I'll say it's a woman. She can't find where she put her credit card to pay for it, or she is dropping things. I mean, and it takes forever. And we have a choice, whether it's the woman at the grocery store or the guy at the gas station that annoys us. We have a choice in that moment, Eugene, to allow the reason why we're here and love to come up, to be patient, to be kind, or we can make another choice and to be aggravated and stew in our old beliefs and stuff.
Right.
Which is easier. To me, I say, I'm going to choose love.
Right.
And visualize that person moving forward, finding their keys or whatever it is, or supporting them in any way that we can. Because I believe that's what the message in that song is. Love, sweet love is all there is.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the only thing that there's just too little of. And it's easier for me to choose love by, okay, how can I help you? It's interesting when we look at stuff that has happened in the USA in terms of disasters, and to watch how people come together. And it seems like it's easy for people to come. People want to serve. Well, that comes from, I'm going to say it this way, Sharon, that comes from a need to serve. How can I help my brother and sister?
Because it's all part of that oneness that we are. It's not only is it the humanity aspect of it, or the humane thing to do, but there's something in us that recognizes that could be me next time.
Right.
That's my brother and sister over there. I may not know their name,
right,
but I know they're a part of who I am.
Right.
So let me get the shovel out and do the debris with you.
Right.
Let me bring you food.
Yeah.
Let me give, because love wouldn't you agree, Eugene, that love is a giving nature? It's part of giving. And you said it earlier in the podcast that why are we here? We are to give of who we are, which is love.
Yeah. Yeah. The way that I look at it is that there's this divine intelligence, call it whatever, call it God, call it Allah, call it whatever. But there's a divine intelligence that decided that it wanted to experience life as me and as you and as everyone else. And so we come to this plane forgetting who we truly are, which is why that question, who am I, is so powerful, because we forgot who we truly are. We were taught something, and we were taught that we were something else or someone else from who we truly are. And as we start to step into who we truly are, I am here to help my brothers and sisters in any way that I can. And it doesn't mean that I need to go and, do anything big or earth shattering. Again, just a simple smile. Hey, how are you?
Yeah.
And
for all of us to remember that in Genesis, it says, and God saw what it created and it called it good.
All of it.
All of it.
All of it. Yeah, on the spirituality side, right? What's that saying? The difference between spirituality and religion. Religion is for those who are afraid to go to hell. Spirituality is for those who've been there.
That's the second one you got me on. I never heard that one before either, but yes.
So let's
Yes.
get this tap back into the spirit. So what I want to leave, folks with is connect with the breath. It's so important to breathe. It's so important to breathe. And we are in these times, and I believe that we're in great times. We're in, people who are on the path, and we are all on the path in some form or fashion. Some of us don't know that, but it's okay until they ask the question, who am I and why am I? But as we learn how to breathe, take a nice deep breath and allow that breath to do two things. Number one, Sharon, is physiologically speaking, a nice deep breath and that exhale is a signal physiologically to the body to relax. Right? That's the first thing that I love about the breath. And the second thing that I love, just as important, is it reminds me that there's only now. What I mean by that is try to take a breath for 2 minutes from now. Try to breathe for 3 minutes ago. You can't, right? We can only breathe now. And what I love about now, in this moment, I don't need anything in this moment. I used to get caught. Okay, I need to do this. I need to do that. Okay, I don't have this. But in this moment, I have everything that I need. So,
yes.
Breathe. Yeah. Getting clear on why we're here. And that starts with, who am I?
Yeah.
Who am I?
And breathe into it.
An exercise that I want to do real fast, just for a minute or two, and it has to do with the breath. And I'm going to use the word peace. Right? So when we take a nice deep breath, we are oxygenating the blood, right? So imagine, again, going back to that great gift, one of the great gifts that we have is imagination, to imagine peace. Then when we inhale peace, imagine that peace also oxygenating the blood. How cool is that? So let's do that just for a moment, okay? So we just take a nice deep breath, closing the eyes. If you're driving, don't close your eyes. But you can still inhale and exhale. And now in this breath, imagine what peace feels like. And feel it permeate the body. Just let the body go, surrendering to peace. Now, on this next inhale, imagine that you're inhaling into the bloodstream peace. And on the exhale love, sending love out into the world. Inhale peace. Exhale love. 2 more times. Inhale peace. Exhale love. 1 more. Inhale peace. Hold peace. Exhale love. Take a breath. My beautiful, beloved friend, thank you so much for being a co-host. This is our second episode. Hey, so thank you so very much for your sacred yes. One day, I think I'll tell the story when we're all on about, how the universe always says yes to me. I won't tell that story now. But so last week we had Reverend Melissa Mora Nobles on with the first episode. This week we have the Reverend Sharon Barone. And then next week I have my dear friend Elle Grinnell. And that's going to be good as well. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. And know that we are here live Thursday, and then you can always catch the recording on YouTube at Academy of Self Mastery. That's the YouTube page. It's LinkedIn, Facebook. We are here to help change the world. Any last words, my beautiful friend?
I say go for it out there. Choose love in an extraordinary, magnificent, loud way, wherever you go and whoever you are with. Choose love.
All right. We'll see you next time, everybody. Peace and blessings.